Hello, Steve Whites for Steve Arts 89. Continuing my Dark Horse He-Man uh, book overview series. I looked at the mini comics and the character guide and the art of, and now I'm down to the complete guide to classic animated adventures, which is basically an episode guide. And there've been a lot of unofficial episode guides over the years. They essentially couldn't use a lot of the artworks in fear of being sued, but this is the official one, so it's quite a different story. Now, it's a very big, heavy volume. Some nice art on the back. And, oh my god, how many pages is it? What? It's only 590, but it's very heavy. Okay. Now, like all the other volumes, I really hate that they have this blue. I don't know why they didn't just have the original artwork, whatever artwork is on the inside in its original form. Bugs me every time I open one of these. Or at least done it in red, in which case it would have matched more with, the artwork. Now there are some nice images in here, some nice artwork, but mostly this book, which I think it was released in 2016, I think, basically goes through the TV seasons, the 2 seasons of He-Man, 2 seasons of She-Ra, and specials, abandoned episodes, and just some additional content. Now it's got some nice artwork like that for the forward, and introductions, how to use the guide, chapter 1, which is He-Man season 1. Now it's got a lot of small pictures, so I guess this is trying to let you know what's to come. Now each episode has its own double page spread, and you basically get information, the title, the actual production title, or the script, all the information you could need, the cast. Each one has additional things like memorable quotes, bonus, which shows something about the episode that you might not know or you didn't focus on. Looks at the synopsis, the moral, does a review of the overall, some deleted scenes. Apparently pretty much every episode had deleted scenes, or they did more than they needed, and they make comparisons, same as the other parts. There's a little trivia section, another bonus, and there's usually stills from the episode, screen captures. Then you also have storyboards and some production design, artwork, stuff like that. And in between is where they sort of have the variation stuff, just random stuff that they have relating to that episode, or just in general for the series that they just wanted to include, just to break up the monotony of basically every page having the same format and looking the same, because it is a little disappointing when I got the book, because I just looked at the mini comics and the art of He-Man, and I sort of was expecting a lot of visuals, and then I sort of realized no, it's a lot of text and small pictures, pretty much in the same format, looking the same on every page. But there is some in-between stuff, and each one is a little different. They're not all exactly the same. Like some have sketches and production designs, and again storyboards and stuff. They try to mix it up a little bit, and every few episodes you get some bonus stuff. It's like, look at the detail, it's beautiful. Storyboards, just paintings, images from cells, just character detail, character profiles. So I'm just going to skip through this and just stop on the interesting stuff like that, so you can get an idea of, I guess, the extra content, because you know what each episode looks like now. You know what you get for each episode, and if you've seen the series, you know all the episodes, and it's really a book that you can spend a lot of time getting lost reading because of all the information. Jitsu, his hand is giant and not gold. So I'm guessing most of the artwork in here relates to the actual episode preceding or it's going to be next. but some of it may just be random stuff that they just threw in because they want to break up the monotony. I haven't read the whole book. I've been meaning to sit down and actually do the whole thing at some point, but I want to enjoy it. I don't want to sort of rush through it, so I need a couple of days to really just sink into it. Now, this is gorgeous. It's they've taken a cell approach with images, stills from the episode, and laid them over the storyboard images, the exact storyboard images. So little bonuses like that are what make this volume, well, not worth it, because it's worth it just to get information on every episode and go through every episode. Because a lot of companions, there'll be a couple hundred pages and you'll get like a little synopsis, maybe a picture, maybe 2 episodes per page or 1 per page, and that's all you get. This really does give you a lot for everyone. It's hard to appreciate it like this when you're flipping through it. It all starts to look same, but fortunately there's the extra images like the sketch, the original design, and then the actual finished product. More storyboards, more designs, things that I guess you get to take a look at things that you probably wouldn't appreciate that just move through in a second on the show and you don't really look at it or appreciate it. So that's some of it you get to take an in-detail look at it and its design. And appreciate its design, the creativity behind it. I mean, look at that, it's beautiful. A few designs were illustrated for Skytree, all of which included a small figure of He-Man for size comparison. Just explaining, I can't see He-Man in there. Oh, there he is. So everything has an explanation, everything has a context. It's hard to appreciate it flipping through it like this, but when you look at it, it's all there. So I'm just going to go through the whole book and just try and get through the same episode. What would you call it? Outlay. And just focus on the oddities and the little extra things in between. Little bonuses. Because if all they did was have straight episodes, this book would be half the size. They probably could have done a second volume of just storyboards and production art, specifically on the series. Probably could have done 2 thinner volumes actually, but they may have only gotten financing for one, so probably safer to put it all in one big volume, give the fans something big to carry home, rather than wanting for more, for extra, different. Now this is an interesting one. Now, spoiler alert, Orko, they actually did a sketch of what he looked like under his hat and scarf, but they never actually showed it on screen. I think it was never canon, it was never official, but here we get the I don't know what to call this, but yeah, it's on a clear piece of paper, and you can take it off, and that's what Orko looked like. I think that was the original sketch, and this was done for the book, or maybe they just did it for the sake of it. But so some of the little bonuses you get in this. Now we're up to season 2, and same thing, same level of detail. Every episode, 2 pages. Doesn't matter how bad or good the episode, they all get the same treatment. Because production-wise, the same amount of work went into all of them. And again, in between each one, or every few episodes, you get something bonus worth looking at. Character profiles for original, traditional, ongoing, regular characters, or just the ones that are actually in the episode. Queen Melina, Prince Randall. I mean, not every design Filmation did for He-Man was awesome. Some of them are a bit average cartoon fare, but most of them had a He-Man touch, something that made them stand out and actually interesting. But not every single one of them. Not Point in case, some weird clown. I've seen every episode. I watched a few on TV when I was a kid. We mostly got it on Saturday mornings in Tasmania. I'm sure at some point we had it in the evenings, but in America it was every night after school. Kids got an episode of He-Man. 130 episodes spread over several years. I know in Australia we had Saturday morning He-Man, Saturday morning Transformers, stuff like that. I remember Fraggle Rock being in the evenings. I think He-Man was at some point. I'm sure it was. I'm sure I came home at some point after school and watched He-Man. But either way, it was part of my life. And part of a lot of people's lives, and still is. It was one of those series that became so cult. And it's because, basically, the laws about promoting cartoons, toys on cartoons, were changed. So basically you could do that. So they basically created a cartoon to promote a toy, or made a toy to create a cartoon for. And that sort of marketing really worked. Again, just more interesting, detailed, beautiful designs. Like, I am surprised the quality of the designs, because these are not finished drawings for the actual episodes and that. Like, some of the storyboards are a bit basic, but the rest is just beautiful. I mean, all you'd have to do is colour them, and they could be final artworks. I'm glad they didn't try and clean them up too much. They may look a little discoloured, but it's more true to what they really look like. Sometimes when they reproduce art and sketches, they clean it up a bit too much and you lose some of the detail. Especially when there's pencil elements along with the ink work. Huh, Tongue Lasher. I don't remember if I even saw Tongue Lasher. So yeah, as I was saying, I saw some of the episodes growing up, but it wasn't until I got the DVDs as an adult that I saw every episode. But obviously, sorry, I didn't point out we're into sort of season 3, which was the first season of She-Ra, because they did 2 seasons of He-Man, and then they did She-Ra for a season and a half, or 2 seasons, but the second season was about half the length of the first season. A lot of people blame She-Ra for He-Man's decline, that they made the toys less attractive to boys somehow by having a girl. It's all bullshit. Pardon my language. But it was a bit of overexposure, I think. And also the toys, they were more sci-fi in the end, and the later ones, and they did too many variations of He-Man and Skeletor that were more available than the new characters. And the kids who were really into it were starting to grow out of it, because you only have a few years, a bit of a sweet spot where you can really appreciate something like this. I hated Lukey, whatever his name was. But same with She-Ra. I saw a few episodes, but that was enough. That had me. Like, I was like addicted for life. I've loved it my whole life. But I only actually saw every episode, the whole series, when I got it on DVD years later. Which also had beautiful artwork and design. The DVDs would fold out. You'd have multiple images. Each disc had a picture behind it. Now season 2 of She-Ra. So He-Man was the book. The toys were designed in 82. The cartoon was 83, 84, and She-Ra was 85, 86. And I think the film was 87, and that was the end. The film wasn't that bad. I love the film. I enjoy it. I watch it all the time. Well, I don't watch it all the time, but I've watched it plenty. Something I return to. Now, they did cop out by going to Earth, so they spent all their time on Eternia, but they did it so well, I'm fine with it. It was like Star Trek 4, where they spent most of the time on Earth. Saved money on the budget, but it works. Had they made enough money on the first film, I'm sure the second film would have been all on Eternia, and we would have, seen a lot more of the planet. We really only have a couple of sets. But why am I talking about that when looking at She-Ra? There's quite as much supplementary sort of additional material in the She-Ra section. Maybe I just stopped seeing it. See, now the occasional image like this just makes these books worth it. To have a whole page of Castle Grayskull. So this is all the specials, because they did I know that Skeletor's Revenge. How's that a special? Okay, I'm worried now I've missed something, but I was only aware of The Secret of the Sword and the Christmas special. So I need to go back and reread that. Abandoned episodes, yeah. I'm sure there are a lot of ideas that they had that were approved, but never, that would have been in the third season if there was a third season. They were preparing for it. I think they wanted to do one. I think Mattel was like, well, we've sold enough toys, we don't need to continue. As a business, they saw it as that it was just there to sell toys, and they didn't really have a lot of commitment to the audience. Same thing with Transformers. They started to appreciate that later when the fans were still around and still buying, and they realised they had something they could actually keep making money off if they actually catered to it. So there's a little page on Lou Scheimer, who, the company that made this Filmation, was one of the last on the ground American animation studios that he kept going, instead of shipping everything off to Japan or wherever they do the artwork for animation series now. And that's that. Now, I wish that was the original art and not blue. Yeah, I know. Keep going on about it. So that's that. That is the He-Man and She-Ra episode guide. Hopefully you got something out of that. Thanks. Bye.